on, guys, and welcome back to another Little Cup battle. Today I have a match against Taybz from Twitter, and I'm using the same team as I was in the first video. I kind of want to get a little bit of a feel for these guys to kind of figure out how they work. So looking at my opponent's team, I'm kind of afraid of the Timber. I'm afraid of the Porygon. The freaking Magnemite could be a problem because it can use the Berry Juice, Sturdy, and then Recycle. It could be annoying. And then honestly, I don't know, his whole team's kind of scary. I don't really know what the big threats are in Little Cup, so let's go ahead and just hop into the battle here. Alright, so I decide that my best lead option is my Chinchou because I can get the fast Volt Switch and stuff like that, as he's going to lead off with his Ponyta. But I do realize he also has the Porygon on his team, which probably is carrying the Trace ability, which would be able to come in, get my Volt Absorb, and then negate my Volt Switch. So he does go into the Porygon. I predict that and actually go for the Hydro Pump. So very first turn, we've got a nice prediction there, as the Porygon's going to take a decent chunk from the Hydro Pump. Luckily, he doesn't miss, and I'm pretty stoked about that. So I want to conserve my Chinchou as much as possible because it's looking really useful against his team. So I now decide to switch into my Ponyta here, as he goes for the Thunderbolt, which was a pretty risky play. He was definitely predicting the switch. Had I stayed in, he would have just T-bolted my Volt Absorb, so that would have been pretty nice. But I'm now just going to go for the Flare Blitz, as he's going to switch into his Staryu, who is apparently pretty damn good in Little Cup, because there's quite a few options you can do with this guy. So I don't want to stay in here and take a Scald or whatever, so I decide to switch back into my Chinchou, as he does in fact go for the Scald. So it's not going to do a whole lot of damage, and fortunately he doesn't get the burn, so that's really nice. And now I can scare this thing out with an electric attack, but I do realize he does still have that damn Porygon around, so I actually decide to predict the switch yet again. He comes in, traces my Volt Absorb, and I go for the Hydro Pump again. So far, I've been able to read his Porygon switches relatively nicely, and looking like that damage is allowing for another Hydro Pump to take it out, and I actually do not miss. I was very surprised. I've hit 3 out of 3 Hydro Pumps, and honestly, I don't even feel like I deserve that, because that's like literally never happened to me. But he's now going to bring in his Timber, carrying his little chunk of wood here, and I decide to switch into Ponyta just because I can hit this thing pretty hard. I can burn it, but then I realize he has freaking guts, so he goes for the knockoff. It's going to get rid of my Eviolites, and now he decides to go for the Mach Punch. I am able to live it with 1 HP, and I actually get the Flame Body, as I was about to go for Will-O-Wisp. I figured even though this thing has guts, I'll take the continual damage. Honestly, I think probably going for a Flare Blitz would have been a better play, but then again, Ponyta would have died, so, you know, I don't know. But predicting another Mach Punch, I'm now going to switch into Ghastly here, as he does go for the Mach Punch, which is really nice, and this allows me to have the matchup against this thing. I know that he does have knockoff, obviously, but I do have a Focus Sash, so I figured it would be a nice 2-hit KO with Sludge Bomb, and I will trade being knocked down to 1 HP for being able to knock out this Timber, because these things hit like a fucking truck, and I just don't want to deal with this thing being able to knock off and stuff like that. So he now decides to save his Timber. He probably figured it was useful, considering it does still have Mach Punch for priority. Here I actually predicted the switch into Magnemite and go for the Hidden Power Fighting, which actually lands on that thing, and I was like, holy shit. I went for the Hidden Power Fighting because it would have knocked out the Timber anyway, but him predicting the Sludge Bomb, he went into Magnemite, and that worked out pretty nicely for me. So the predictions are going my way for sure this match, as he's now going to bring out his freaking little Tweety Bird. He's tiny. Look at how small this thing is. It's adorable. But he goes for the Acrobatics, as I switch into Ponyta just because I kind of wanted some Death Fodder, and then that allows me to get a free switch into whatever I want, which is obviously my Chinchou, as he does not have the Porygon around anymore, so I'm pretty much free to just Thunderbolts, as he lets his Fletchling just kind of take that to the face and die. So down goes the little birdie, as now he's going to bring out his own Ponyta, and I'm Choice Scarfed into Thunderbolt, so I don't really have any way of going for Hydro Pump, so I have to switch out here as I go into my Carvanha, as he's just going to go for the Flare Blitz. Still does a decent amount of damage. Look at that, knocks me down to 6 HP. Carvanha is frail as hell, but it can definitely get sweeps with the Speed Boost ability. It's one of the best Little Cup mons I've seen so far, but here I decide to go for the Protect, actually expecting him to stay in and go for another Flare Blitz, considering Ponyta is naturally faster. I went for the Protect just to get a Speed Boost, as he actually ended up switching into his Timber here, and I decided to go for a second Protect just because the first one didn't matter. I knew he was going to want a Mach Punch, and the burn damage is then able to take out his little baby Conkeldurr guy. So that thing is dead. Don't have to worry about that anymore, which is amazing, as Carvanha is now going to get another Speed Boost. So he has to switch into his Staryu. It's pretty much his only option at this point, as I'm just going to go for a Crunch, and Staryu is like, ouch, that fucking hurts. He got me right in the damn gem, but he actually lives it with a couple HP, and he's then able to finish off Carvanha with a Scald here. So I do still have the Chinchou in the back of my team, so honestly that's kind of looking like my win condition. I decide to switch back into Flashlight here, lighten shit up, as I'm able to just go for a Thunderbolt. Choice Scarfed Chinchou tears shit up in Little Cup, let me tell you. It's super fast and it hits really hard, plus its typing is extremely good against a lot of the bigger threats in Little Cup. So now he's going to bring out his Ponyta, and I decided to stay in Thunderbolt considering Ponyta doesn't have any moves that could kill Chinchou at this point. He has to go for the Flame Charge. It's not going to do anything, obviously, as he does get the Speed Boost, which allows him to then outspeed me and go for the Morning Sun. So this is where the match gets a little bit interesting. I kind of thought I was going to blow it here, so I just continue going for the Thunderbolts, as he can just continue to freaking soak up some sun, get a nice little suntan, and get some health back. So here I predict him to go for the Morning Sun again, as I'm going to switch into Ghastly here. So Ponyta's chilling, pretty much at full health, and I'm like, shit, I gotta figure out a way to kill this. If I go into Chinchou and end up missing Hydro Pumps, I could be fucked, but I go for the Sucker Punch basically just to get a little bit of damage before I die, and he's gonna finish me off with one more Flame Charge. So down goes Ghastly, and at this point, I have to bring in Flashlight here. I'm like, oh shit. Hydro Pump, please work, as he's going to go for a Flare Blitz now. He has the speed he needed, and the Flare Blitz is going to do enough to knock me down to 5 HP. And check this out. So I go for the Hydro Pump, and I fucking miss. So Hydro Pump, honestly, I was pretty due for a miss at this point. I kind of saw that coming, but you gotta hope, I guess. But he's able to then take me out with one more Flare Blitz, and down goes Chinchou, which was pretty much my win condition. So at this point, I do still have ADD, my freaking Arch in here. So I'm like, oh shit, we gotta do this, buddy. He hits me with a Will-O-Wisp, as I pretty much expected, which is pretty damn annoying, as I do luckily have Earthquake on this thing. So I got some coverage. Earthquake with the burn is actually not going to be able to take out the Ponyta, and I was like, oh shit, because this means that he'll be able to go for the Morning Sun and get some more health back. Seeing as my Earthquake is not doing enough, he's going to be able to whittle me down with burn and then be able to finish me off eventually. So I was like, holy shit. I go for the knockoff here, actually, which was a pretty decent play considering I figured getting rid of the Eviolite would probably be in my best interest rather than just going for more Earthquakes, because it would lower his defenses and stuff like that. So he goes for a Flare Blitz, and I was kind of worried about how much damage that was going to do, but it doesn't do a whole lot, and then actually knocks me right down to my Berry Juice. So that's going to put me at full, and one more Earthquake is able to take out the Ponyta. And this thing definitely caused some problems. It's really cool to see Ponyta be able to shine in Little Cup, just because I've always liked the Rapidash line, but it's honestly like Rapidash just does not have anything going for it. I don't know. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. He now brings in the Magnemite. He's able to outspeed me, and down goes my weird-ass parrot, fucking Fossil Birdie. And at this point, all I have to do, fortunately, is go into my Mindfu, who's been sitting in the back of the team this whole time, as he's able to hit me with one more T-Bolt. Luckily, I'm able to live that, and that Drain Punch is going to finish off the Magnemite. So that was a pretty damn interesting match. It seemed like it was going my way for the majority of it, but then I ran into some trouble. But I thought that was a pretty interesting match. Thank you, Taybz, for the great battle, and hit that like button on this video if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.